Holbrook Indian School, located just off of the famous Route 66 in northern Arizona. Listen to Principal Janet Claymore Ross tell us about Holbrook.
The mission of Holbrook School is to bring Jesus to the Native people, particularly the children at this time. They come from the reservations. Some come from Phoenix, some come from California. We had a couple here from South Dakota. We have some from New Mexico and Utah. I think the main goal for this school is to give children an idea of who Jesus is and to help them form a relationship with him. And through that relationship, that teaches them to trust. And through that trusting, then we're able to teach them the academics. And so that's the main goal, is to give them that relationship with Jesus. The objectives then would follow that, in that we have 4 areas that we want to be very strong in: the spiritual, the academic, the physical, and the emotional. And we've seen so much happen for these children. We actually had 16 baptisms last year. 16.
At Holbrook, the students are given the opportunity to learn practical skills that they can use throughout their lives. One of the opportunities is to learn about Navajo pottery design. The students at Holbrook produce high-quality, unique, and very beautiful vessels. Some of the students have paid their way through school making pottery. Some have gone on to careers as artists. This is another way that Holbrook is training young people to be productive and self-sufficient members of society. Another aspect that Holbrook takes seriously is developing a sense of community service and responsibility in the students. Each student is required to fulfill a certain number of hours giving back each year. Some have spent their time in restoration projects in the city of Holbrook, the Breath of Life mission, as well as the local national parks.
We certainly have appreciated all of the time and effort that the Seventh-day Adventist, the Holbrook Indian School, provides to the community. It's definitely a very wonderful asset.
And entities as large as even the Petrified Forest National Park, with federal funding through the Department of Interior, still have pressures on their resources. If it wasn't for groups coming out and donating time and energy, there are elements of our parks that really couldn't get that attention any other way.
There are never enough resources or people to get everything done at the national parks. Last spring for Earth Day, they came out and helped rehab some trails. We used to have an old railing system made of pine logs that had been nailed together, and those were removed, and there was some material left over. They helped clean it up and remove that from the trails. I believe that young people working here is even more important because it connects them to the resource and to the ideals of the Park Service, which is to preserve these places for future generations.
Holbrook has needs. As we look around the campus, the needs are many, from better housing for staff and volunteers, to funding for the food budget, improvements to the gym and classrooms. There are plans for a community outreach center when funding becomes available. Many of the students do not have the finances to attend and are dependent on donations to benefit from a Christian education.
I don't know what I would have done without the school, Sometimes I think about it. I wish I could come back. I want to go back to school so at least I could come back here and, teach other kids how it can change your life and how the school can make a difference in somebody's life like it did mine.
They're really nice people. You'll always remember them. No matter, who they are, where they came from, it's the people are, what makes Holbrook, and teach you about, the love of God. And that's where, I got my start.
I still remember some of the stories I read in those little leaflets, the stories in Little Friend, and I don't remember what the other title, Guide something. I remember those stories. That kept drawing me back, I think, back into church.
Many of the children cannot afford to come to school here, and that is why it's such a blessing. We see the Holy Spirit working on them, and it's such a wonder. I mean, I've never been in a place where you see the Holy Spirit actually working on people and seeing their hearts change. And that is worth all of the money, all of the work that we go through to find donations to help these kids be here, because they learn about Jesus, and they really do, and they're watching us. The Holy Spirit helps us. I mean, there is no way that we could be here unless He was working through us.
As the staff at Holbrook continues to reach out to the Native American community, they do so in faith, trusting that the Father above will provide for His children. Let us ask ourselves, what have we done? What can we do to impact the life of a child? Perhaps a child at the Holbrook Indian School.